Welcome to Real Lives Touched by Addiction with your hosts, Jen McCutcheon, Luke Loughlin, Lainne Love, and Sandra Marie. This 6-part series exists to bring truth, compassion, and real solutions to conversations around addiction that families, communities, and systems have avoided for far too long. Addiction isn't just an individual struggle. It's a family, community, and generational issue, and too many people are navigating it in silence, feeling overwhelmed and alone. Through real stories, lived experience, trauma-informed insight, and evidence-based framework, we're exploring the most misunderstood truths about addiction and family healing. And you're invited to join us. Listen, reflect, and take small but powerful steps towards real healing and change. So, let us begin. All right, we are here, our final episode of the 6-part series, Real Lives Touched by Addiction. We are super excited to just be talking about really the purpose behind the journey that each and every one of us have been on, including you, the listener. So we're talking about purpose and calling. Purpose and calling, which is really, where we're aiming to bring an understanding about, again, the connecting the dots. Okay, why did I go through this? Why am I experiencing this? As we talked about last episode, the why me and why not me? So purpose and calling today is our theme. And I can't wait to hear everybody's experience with this and what it means to them.
Purpose. I could start if you'd like. Purpose usually comes from pain. And I've had a lot of pain over the years, over my lifetime. And I feel when I really look at my purpose, I'm full of gratitude because I learned so much from my son. Uh, it sucks that I lost my son. It sucks. It hurts. I still grieve. I will continue to grieve, but he's always in my heart. And because of him, I continue to advocate and share my experiences because if I could help one person, oh, that fills me up. Maybe it's selfish on my part, but we were speaking earlier. I volunteer for a program here for people that are unhoused, and I love doing it because I get to talk to these human beings and it fills me up because my son's last year, he was out there on the streets and he didn't have a program like that where he was, where he could actually sleep indoors during these winter snowstorms. We're in Canada and the weather can get pretty brutal out there. So I look at everything I went through when I stopped saying, why me? Like in our last episode, I look at my purpose and I believe that this has been my journey forever. I look back when I was in high school, I wanted to be a social worker, but somebody at that time said, no, you don't want to be a social worker, you take it home with you. So I totally nixed that. So it's really interesting. My journey changed because of that. I went into a different field. But in the end, I feel like I'm that social worker I always wanted to be. I think that was my purpose from day one. I just took a different route. And I am so grateful that I've have the experience that I could share with others. Over the years, when my son was in active addiction, it was really hard to navigate our health system and getting the support when he wanted it. It took a long time. It took many courses of learning what addiction is, et cetera, et cetera. And if I could give somebody a little shortcut if they want it, I could share. There have been times when people have reached out and said, this is a situation. What can I do? Okay, well, if with this knowledge, this is what I would do. And I'm able to give them options that could be helpful to them if they choose to use it. And it's options that I had to learn over a period of time. So I'm here to give you a shortcut if you want it when it comes to getting support for mental health and addiction. And I also share with others that what you're going through doesn't mean that you can't have joy in your life with everything I gone through. I had to relearn how to have joy in my life without having the guilt or any of that stuff attached to it. Because when my son was deep in his addiction, I had a choice of either rolling up in a ball in the corner and like, and not living, or recognize that I need to take care of myself because that's the theme of this series. It's about what we do for ourselves. And so I learned to take care of myself and get joy back in my life, even though my son was struggling. So my purpose is to continue advocating and honoring my son and everything that I learned from him and everything I learned along the way, and to support others. And if I could just make one person's life a little bit easier, I've done my job. And really, saving lives is a big part of it. I don't want anybody to go through what I went through losing my son, because there is treatment, and there are choices. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't happen in the end, but for me, I have lived with no regret. I know I couldn't have prevented it, and that's a big one. So I can continue living my purpose. Um, so I am really inspired to keep moving forward. And I am so, so grateful that you have all come into my life to uh, join me in my purpose. And I love that we're very much alike, yet we have different experiences and we don't agree on everything. And that's a beautiful thing, because there is no one way. I'm here to just share my story. And my purpose is to continue advocating and honoring my son. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, I mean, purpose. I mean, the thing is with purpose is, I mean, I remember for so long, like, and this goes before I had any experience with mental health or addiction with family members or my own experiences. But I remember like my early like teenage years, early 20s being like, what is my purpose? And feeling like I had to figure out my purpose.
Mm.
And I think that there's this whole thing like what is this? What is the purpose? What is my purpose? And I feel like we think we have to find it. And what I've actually learned through my experience is that my purpose has always been within me. It's always been part of me. It's not something I find. It finds me. It is me. And it's part of the experience of moving through the challenges that we face that reveals our purpose. It shows us what we're here for. That's been my experience. And anytime I thought I was like choosing, this is my purpose, it was like, no. Again, the universe is like, no, this is,
Mhm.
we're going to show you some more. We're going to show you some more. And it helped to reveal it. So I think, I just wanted to share that because I really do think that for me anyways, I was always looking for what is my purpose, which isn't a bad thing, but that was where I was like trying to figure it out logically. And um and I believe my purpose is still being revealed. I believe that this is part of my life's experience and our life experiences to continue to again continue to like get curious with what am I here for? And and for me, the purpose was through the lived experience. And I think about when I was a little girl, my kids always laugh at me because I always say, when I was a little girl, when I was a little girl, that little Jenny was just kind, this kind, like spirited little girl who always wanted to help people, who always wanted to like brighten people's days. And that was just, I loved it. That was what I remember myself to be. And through my life experiences, that light was dimmed and I forgot who I was. And my journey well beyond addiction and my family's addiction, my experiences, it all slowly brought me to a tipping point where I started to understand how that light was dimmed and wanting to bring that light back. And that I think is the purpose, is that remembering who I am before the experiences, before the programming, the things that I felt I had to be to fit in or whatever it was. And some of the most painful experiences, like curled up in a ball in my closet crying, feeling completely broken, wondering how the hell I could ever possibly survive, to the things that I'm going through today. And I'm getting emotional because it's like there's still these challenges that come up and these hardships that I'm moving through. And each and every one of them, as hard as they are, and as much as I resist them at times, it's still showing me it's still helping me to remember what I'm here for and to break free from the mold of what I've been told I'm supposed to be. And every time I break free and I scratch away at that layer, that veil of what I'm been told to be, or the protective layer that I've created for myself, I'm able to step a little bit deeper into remembering what I'm here for. And when I'm able to do that, it helps me to remember all the things that I've been through, is helping to me to love myself in a way that I've never loved myself before, and a deeper kind of love. And even when I'm still in the feeling like I'm failing, feeling like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, feeling like it shouldn't be this way, it shouldn't be this hard, all the stories that you tell yourself, it's there's this part of it that it's like this part of it that when I sit with myself in that space, I see the illusion that I'm living through, that I already know my purpose. And it's being able to be present enough with myself to remember that where I am is just part of the puzzle that's being placed back in to remember who I am. And the purpose is constantly being revealed. And my purpose is just like that little girl. I'm here not just to be a coach and help people, because I can get caught up in the illusion of that too, that that's my purpose. It's part of my purpose, but my purpose is just to be me. My purpose is to love me, to be me, to hold myself in all the aspects of who I am, and to continue to reveal what no longer serves me so that I can be more of who I'm meant to be. And my purpose has always been to help people. So part of this stuff is, sorry, I think I'm rambling a little bit here, but I'm trying to put it into words because it's not easy to put into words. But the areas in my life that were the biggest challenges in my life, and still are the biggest challenges of my life, is often where my purpose lies. It's almost always where my purpose lies. And that purpose for me is to remember me. It's to remember that often the way I needed, or what I needed or lacked or was challenged in, I see myself naturally trying to help other people because that's actually part of my purpose. It's really interesting. So, like, for example, me as a child feeling unseen, not important, I actually see myself always trying to make sure other people feel seen, that other people, I acknowledge them as important. So, like, it can be something simple. It doesn't mean our purpose is our job. It's just showing up in that version of you, that you, and loving that version of you, and emitting that frequency and helping other people through that. It's interesting. So if you look at the biggest challenge in your life, that's often the way that you're here and you're meant to serve in so many different capacities. Doesn't mean coaching, doesn't mean it can be just showing up and being super kind and seeing people for who they are and giving back the way you needed to be loved and that's the way that you serve and that's part of your purpose and your mission.
I'm just going to simplify what I said is all those things brought me to where I am today. But before any of that, I always said my purpose in life is to learn and love. Learn
Yeah.
and love.
And I guess to simplify what I'm saying, because I think I might have taken us down a lot of different pathways to try to explain it. But I feel like the hurt that we feel often becomes the
Mhm.
medicine for myself, but then the medicine that I'm able to share with others. And it's through my own pain and my own hurt and coming back to just owning it, not having to like change the story, but just create a new version. It's this medicine of just love that I get to that gets to be who I am and then shared with others that are moving through similar experiences and I'm able to bring that wisdom and that medicine to them.
Purpose. Purpose to me is listening.
Mm,
No, I think that we all come in knowing, because we often refer back to the little girl or the little boy version of me. So purpose is listening. Purpose is giving of myself. And purpose is creativity in terms of how I am expressing that. And that I think is where we do get stuck is that we think or we've been told or it's been modeled that how we express this creativity, this giving of our purpose, because it could be I'm here to my purpose is joy, but we don't compute that in the way that our systems are set up. The way that our society has been built is that we have to do something. I have to be something. I have to do something. That has to be
yes.
the purpose. Is I got to do something. And being joy isn't doing something, right? And how am I gonna live? And how am I gonna pay my bills? Like it has to equate with, well, my purpose is I am going to spread joy through cooking. And that could be a way that you spread joy, absolutely. So I think it's just like re-examining how it is that we define what purpose is.
Yeah.
As Sandra wanted to be a social worker, and I'm sure that she still brought, because she can't not bring that essence of herself to, even though she chose a different vocation, she still brought that, and then she still came back to it anyway. So you're never going to be completely, at least I don't believe so, completely led astray from your purpose if you feel like you're not on purpose. There's this part of you that's always on purpose.
Exactly.
Maybe to the extent in which you express it changes by the listening part again, by the going back to purpose is listening to, like, am I just being my authentic self? Am I trying to fit into a box? Am I trying to be the doctor my parents wanted me to be? Am I trying to think this way or do these things? Purpose is just, yeah, being the free expression of yourself. And as you continue to know yourself and listen, what do I like? What do I don't like? What brings me joy? What makes me feel fulfilled? What could I do all day for free? And I know I searched that, and I believe many people do, as you said, Jen, like, what's my purpose? What am I meant to do? What am I supposed to do? Whatever you want, as long as you're bringing that element of yourself. If I'm here to bring joy, I can be a firefighter, I can be a cook, I can start my own business, I can work with kids, as long as I'm bringing joy with me. I've done lots of different jobs. I've had lots of different titles. I thought, this is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. That's going to be me. I'm going to know my purpose. I'm going to study this and study that. And um, And when I did the job, there was a part of me that still felt unfulfilled, but I always brought me to it. I always brought joy. I always brought lightness to wherever I went. And it did take me to figure out a while as to what my vocation is. Like, how do I want to earn money? How
Yeah.
do I integrate the feeling that
Mm.
I have that I want to give, I want to create, and I want to get paid, and I want to be myself. You can figure that out too, but one doesn't mean the other.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to mean the other. It can, and that's probably, when you're like in the sweet spots, like I get paid to do this thing, in the way that I envisioned myself doing it. But yeah, one doesn't necessarily have to mean the other. And the other thing is like you're here like to live your bigger mission. I know Jen and I have a book called Bigger Mission, and there are so many elements of like your spirits and the dimension of who you are that you're here to give, because again, purpose is giving. And it's going to feel like it's always, I think, expanding. I think it always stays the same, but it expands because the way that I could give, the capacity for my giving grows, and I could see I can bring joy to here. I can build this and bring joy to here. I can do this and bring joy to here. I can do all these things. And that's my bigger mission, is how big can I make my capacity to give joy be? And that's so cool. And remember that you matter. You
Yes.
matter. You matter. You are so important. And whatever it is that your purpose is, that you came here to be and do, is so important. And you are, without your piece of the puzzle, the picture is incomplete. So no matter what that is, it's essential. And
Yes.
that's
Yes.
yeah. Luke, over to you.
That's it, Sam. No, I was thinking like listen to all you guys share. Like when I was young, Jen, you brought that up, Sandra, Lainne, like little Luke. My mom, when she started seeing me like helping people like in recovery and stuff, and she made a couple comments that when I was like younger, like I always said that like I wanted to help people like from like a young age.
Mm.
And when I like look back, I think about like what were some of the careers that I like thought about doing, and it was like police officer or firefighter, something to do with like helping or protecting people. And well, I definitely went the other down the other road from that police officer one, if you know a bit of my story. But it was inbuilt, like ingrained, and like I always feel like when I think about purpose, yeah, I was like walking around life not really knowing, like once I got into my teenage years, right? And like drugs and alcohol started getting involved. Yeah, I had no clue, but I also had this like mindset and this belief that like there was no future for me either. Like,
Mm.
I this bedroom that I'm in right now, I used to like wake up and like sit on the edge of my bed being like, when's this gonna be over? Like I had no sense of like purpose in my life, usefulness. Like I just felt, and I thought life too, right? Like I thought like success was like if you either got an amazing job that paid you a lot of money and you had nice things, like you've arrived, right? And there's one thing I've learned, and it's been mentioned here, is like I feel like purpose for me came out of having a servant's attitude. I'm like, how can I help others? And my journey where we circle back to when like I was a little boy talking about helping people. Yeah, it came out of some dark times in my life, right? And I always believe this, like my past like is the greatest asset to like help somebody else that's going through that exact same struggle. Like it's the greatest asset that I have, because I know when I would talk to people that, didn't really struggle with substances, and I would try and tell them like how I was feeling and stuff, like they could like really say to me was, well, just stop doing that, and like it'll get better. And but like when you talk to somebody that's like, yeah, man, I felt like that, like, yeah, I did that, like that's how I was living too, it's like you're like, whoa, Like, and I remember having those conversations with people, and like part of their purpose was that, like, was sharing their experience with me, to help me. And I think Jen, you said something there, right? Like about we've all touched on it, like looking for that person. I feel like it can really drive you nuts trying to look for that purpose. Like, like what can you do? But if you like sit back and like think about it, like even for me, like as simple as having a purpose, I sometimes do greeting at the church that I go to. And when I first started going there, pretty much just opening that front door for people walking through and just saying good morning, welcome to church. And there's a couple of people that came to me like a year ago, like a year after I was there one time, and there's times you like switch, and some of them were like, I like always enjoy showing up to church when you're like greeting, like you always put a smile on my face, like you like just make a very warm welcoming, and it's like as simple as that, like
Yes.
part of my purpose can just be as simple as putting a smile on somebody's face, welcoming them in somewhere. Like, and when you like splash joy onto people, it splashes back on you. And like, so there's so many different like areas where I feel like I can say I have like a purpose in that area, or like there's something I'm good at doing that can help others. And I find, you know, through my journey with starting the painting company called Recovery Paint. And like the goal has always been this thing to, yeah, of course you're gonna make money. And I want to like have it as like avocational work with having guys come in that are in addiction and recovering, or guys coming out of jail to create this space. But like, there's people that got painting companies that are like multi-million-dollar painting companies. And like my 19-year-old self, if this idea came into me, first of all, it wouldn't have been about hiring people that are struggling with addiction. It'd be future surfing to like, man, when my company's that big, I'm gonna have this car, I'm gonna have a Corvette, blah, blah, blah. And when I think about it, like the thoughts come, like, what if this was a success? Like the thoughts that come to my head are like, man, maybe I can like donate money somewhere that's going to help people that are struggling with mental health. It starts coming on top, and where this comes from is
Mhm.
living that dark past, going through all the challenges I have. To me, to simplify purpose for me is to be a part of the world, contribute to the world in the most positive way that I possibly can, whether it's opening a door for somebody and it puts a smile on their face, giving somebody a compliment. um it's just a part of connecting with the world and leaving it hopefully in that moment in a little bit of a better place than it was before you showed up, because I know my past, I left things a mess. And my purpose, I find, is, yeah, just helping, serving, continuing to work on myself, because another big purpose for me is being an uncle to my nieces and nephews. I know you can't see it because I got my screen
There we
blurred,
go.
but
Yep.
it fills me up when these kids say they love you, like I love you, Uncle Luke, or thank you for that Christmas gift. Like my purpose is to be an example for these young kids to, one day when they're in their 20s, 30s, and they talk to somebody about, my Uncle Luke, maybe share some sort of fun moment, or maybe something I've taught them that I don't even know I'm teaching them. It could just be the way I'm walking. But yeah, my purpose today is, yeah, is to be a servant, like just try and contribute to the world today. Try to pull people that are in the same hole that I once was, pull them out and show them how I got out, and just to continue on. And we could go on, like there's so many areas. One last little thing. This is what really messes me up too, is I've done a couple speaking things at my church. And so like my pastor asked me, like, would you be interested in like doing some sort of ministry education? Like, would you want to do something like this? Like, and so you're like, but I got all this over here. Like, what do you mean? And then those like thoughts start going into your head, and like, wait, is that the right thing? And then Lainey nailed it, listening. There's a lot of just listening for the voice, the small voice deep down inside of us, the God voice of, what direction do I take here? And yeah, I just hope I live the rest of my life with a servant's heart. while I grow, also help as many as I can. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I want to say for me with purpose, when it feels good and it fills me up, that's when I know I'm on the right track. And I
Mhm.
think everybody here may feel the same way. You know when it feels good. Thank you all so much for sharing your stories.
Yeah.
That this fills me up. So I think this is
I
part of my purpose because listening to you and thank you, thank you, thank you.
It'd be great if
Yeah.
people would share with us what their purpose is or how they
Mm,
express it. Or I'd love to hear about other
Mm,
people's
yeah.
relationship to purpose.
yes. Mm,
Yes, absolutely. Because your purpose matters. You're here for a reason. Everything that you've
Yeah.
been through there is a purpose behind it. And we'd love to be part of exploring that with you and, sharing it here so we can continue to pass on these beautiful inspiration and expansion of each and every one of our truths and your truth to keep the conversation going, because that's really what this is. Real voices, real lives touched by addiction, sharing the journey openly so that we can heal and recover out loud. We no longer have to do this alone. Your voice matters, your message matters, you matter. So we just want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this 6-part series. We will continue to show up with Real Lives Touched by Addiction to continue this conversation. But until then, take care, and we look forward to hearing from you.
take care.
If this episode moved something within you, please subscribe and leave a rating or review. It helps these conversations reach the hearts of those that need them most. And we also want to invite you to come and connect with us. Our social links are in the show notes. Follow us, come say hi, and share your story. We truly want to hear from you because your story carries wisdom, your voice carries medicine, and your purpose is already unfolding. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. We heal, rise, and recover better together.